Hey you guys, it's Amelia here. So I just wanted to share a little bit with you guys about my trip to Europe, which was amazing. And one of the things that I love about going there is that the horses are such a part of their culture, which is different than here in the US. In the US, the horses are kind of a sport of the elite, and only the very wealthy people can have horses. But in Europe, it's much more of a middle class thing. And you see a lot of like kids and husbands and fathers. Everyone is at the barn and involved with the horses. And that, I think, is really, really cool. They love their horses. They take good care of their horses. And it's not uncommon when you're in Europe to try a horse at 10 o'clock at night, even in the summer. Whereas here in the US, if you were to go try a horse even after 5 p.m., most people would say, no, we won't show you the horse. So it was a wonderful time, and I'm going to give you a few tips on what to look for if you're looking for a horse, things to check out, things to watch out for. So give me a thumbs up, and I hope you like this video.
Keep pushing you away while I want you to stay. Amazing gold his eyes, but my heart still beats. When I say no, it's yes. I'm putting you to the test. Can you handle me? Do you have the key? Sorry that I've been playing games. Do you really have what it takes? I guess so, I guess so. I guess so, I guess so. I am a queen, I need my king. Are you bad enough to sin? I think so, I think so. I think so, I think so. Okay, let me just be honest with you. I want you, want you, want you. And okay, I've been running circles all the time, but I want you, want you, want you.
So my tips for when you are trying a horse or looking for a horse is I always like to make sure that when I arrive that the horse is in the cross ties. I don't like to get there and have the person already have warmed up the horse, because I like to see, you know, how they are in the cross ties, how they are with the bridling and the saddling, and how they are to mount and unmount is really important, and kind of how they start out. That's really, really important. Then another thing is I observe very, very carefully how the horse is with its normal rider in its normal environment. So I watch the person warm up the horse. I really pay attention to, you know, which direction they start on, which canter lead they pick up first, if the horse seems relaxed, if the rider seems relaxed, if the horse seems tense, if the horse seems nervous, and then I decide whether or not I want to try the horse for myself. So if the horse is like spooking or crazy or throwing its head up in the air or showing some major behavioral issue, I generally don't get on the horse. When I was younger, I used to think, oh, well, I'm a good rider and I can get on and I can fix that and da 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 da. But the problem is that you have to realize that whatever problem the horse is showing at home with its normal rider, it's going to be worse when you have it in a new situation with a new rider in a new country, maybe even. So in general, if the horse isn't behaving well for its rider, I am immediately not interested in it. Now, if the horse is good, when I get on the horse, I try to first imitate how the normal rider rides the horse. So especially with young horses, it's important when you get on that you first just try to ride the same as the normal rider. If you get on a young horse and immediately start like kicking and pulling and putting a lot of pressure on them and asking them to go differently than they're used to going, it's going to really freak them out. So it's best to first ride how the rider normally is riding them, and then little by little you can kind of change things up and make some changes, see how the horse takes a little pressure. But it's important to just first try and imitate how the normal rider is riding them. Another tip that I have that's super important is always to check the legs and the back. So after I ride, I like to see the horse without bandages on the legs and without the saddle on, and I really, run my hands over the tendons, palpate the tendons a little, palpate the back, pick up all 4 feet, look at the frog, stick a hoof pick in there, see if there's any thrush. That's super important. And that's going to save you a lot of money with a vet check, because that's the first thing the vets do is they palpate all the legs. They look for splints or swollen legs or asymmetric tendons, and then also really look at the feet. So are the feet symmetrical? Do they have any weird flares? Are the legs straight, meaning that the bones of the foot go right into the middle of the horse's hoof? That is super important. Then if I still like the horse, I will often ask them to lunge the horse in soft footing and on hard footing, because again, that's what the vet is going to do. And sometimes a horse can look even when you're riding it, but when you put it on the lunge line, you will see that it's not straight and even. So that's really important. So these are just a few tips. I'm going to put in some other clips and pictures from my trip in Europe, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Good luck if you're looking for a horse. It's really hard to find a good horse.
I think so.